Hi, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ethan.
And...
Wait, can we say it at the same time this time?
Sure.
All right, on 1, 3, 2, it's time for a Bible story. Well, yeah, that was a miss.
Sure was.
Sorry about that, probably confusing, but what Bible story do we have today?
Today we're talking about Joshua, son of Nun.
He didn't have parents? That's terrible.
What?
He's like, no parents, son of none.
No, Nun. N-U-N, not N-O-N-E.
Oh, like a nun, like Catholic nun. His mom was a nun.
No, his dad was Nun.
His dad was a nun? A boy nun. Can I be a nun?
Stop. No, you cannot. Let's drop the nun thing. We'll just call him Joshua.
Joshua, son of Nunya business. Proceed.
Okay. So Joshua was one of the Israelites who followed Moses through the wilderness. He was one of the ones that followed Moses when God parted the Red Sea for them to pass through, and when Moses read them the 10 Commandments. And if you remember the story of when Moses sent 12 guys to spy on the people who lived in the Promised Land, Joshua was one of them.
Oh yeah, him and Caleb were the only 2 spies who thought they should even go into the Promised Land. The land promised to them. By God. Seems like a no-brainer.
That's what God thought too. So he told Joshua and Caleb that they were the only 2 men from their age group that would get to go into the Promised Land.
Ha! Take that, old people.
So Moses knew he was getting old and close to dying. So after he read the law that God had given them to the Israelites, Moses called Joshua up and said, "Be strong and courageous, for you must go with this people into the land that the Lord swore to their ancestors to give them. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged."
Yeah, who's in charge now?
I just said Joshua.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was saying it like, never mind.
Okay. Later, Moses died and God spoke to Joshua. He told him that it was time for the Israelites to cross over into the Promised Land. But Joshua would need to lead them and not be afraid because God would be with them.
What's so scary about the Promised Land anyways? If God picked it out, you'd think it'd be dope. Except for the milk and honey everywhere. That sounds like the worst day of cleaning ever.
No, not that. There were giants living in the land that needed to be kicked out. So Joshua needed to lead the charge to the Promised Land. So he told the Israelite people to pack up, and Joshua began to lead the people, just the way God instructed him to. And eventually, he ended up leading the Israelites into the Promised Land and defeating the giants.
Well, good for Joshua. From being a super awesome spy to being the leader of a whole nation.
That's right, and he did a lot more cool stuff. But that is a story for another day.
Oh, man. Well, what did they do about all the milk and honey? What happened with the other 10 spies? Did Joshua's dad ever become a nun?
The end.